Well, it's August. We're up at LNA County for the Discover LNA Mega. But first, let's do the Geo Challenge of the month, which is to find a cache that's alien or space-based. So, we're at a bridge. Let's see what we can find. Alright, the old magnetic key holder. All signed up. And this cache is William Shatner from Star Trek. So, Star Trek's themed.
William Shatner / Captain James T. Kirk. William Shatner was born in 1931 in Montreal, Quebec. Although he never flew in space until 2021, he is best known for being the captain of Star Trek's Enterprise. Star Trek ran from 1965 until 1994, Star Trek Generations. He appeared as guest star in various other TV shows including Columbo, Third Rock from the Sun, and Boston Legal. He also tried his hand as a recording artist with an album, The Transformed Man, in 1968. It wasn't until 2021, at the age of 90, that he became the oldest person to fly into space and one of the first 600 to do so.
Second cache. This one is Dave Williams. So these are all dedicated to Canadian men in space.
Dave Williams was born in 1954 in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. He took his training as a medical doctor, specializing in emergency medicine. He was selected by the Canadian Space Agency in 1992 and after completing basic training, was appointed manager of the Missions and Space Medicine Group within the astronaut program. In 1994, he participated in a 7-day space mission simulation. In 1998, he served as director of the Space and Life Sciences Directorate with responsibility for research in both physical and biomedical spaces sciences at the Johnson Space Center. With this appointment, he became the first non-American to hold a senior management position with NASA. In 2007, Williams was assigned to the crew of STS-118 on the International Space Station, where he completed 3 spacewalks and set 2 new records. He is the Canadian with the most spacewalks.
Okay, this one, next one is Bajarni Tigerin. I'm bastardizing the name, but he deserves a ammo can. Signed into log. There's quite a bit of swag in here. There's a laser pointer, some necklaces, or bracelets, I mean, flying saucer, some kind of pin.
Bjarni Tryggvason was born in 1945 in Reykjavik, Iceland. He moved to Canada when he was 8 years old and grew up in Vancouver, British Columbia. He worked as a meteorologist at the Atmospheric Environment Service in Toronto and later in a similar position at James Cook University in Townsville, Australia. He was selected in 1983 to the Canadian Space Agency and became the first Icelandic astronaut. He served as a payload specialist in 1997 on a 12-day mission to study changes in the Earth's atmosphere. Tryggvason retired from the Canadian Space Agency in 2008 and returned to teaching at the University of Western Ontario. He also taught at the International Test Pilot School in London, Ontario, and continued to serve as a test pilot. In February 2009, he piloted a replica of Alexander Graham Bell's Silver Dart from the ice on Bedeck Bay, Cape Breton Island, Nova Scotia. The flight commemorated the centennial of the first flight in Canada and the British Empire.
This one is Ken Money. It's pretty close to this house. And what's this? It's a pillow, but there's the cache.
Ken Money was born in 1935 in Toronto, Ontario. He is a former Royal Canadian Air Force fighter pilot who has flown a wide variety of aircraft including bush planes and helicopters. He first worked with the NASA space program in 1962 and consulted as a scientific advisor to the U.S. agency. In early 1990, he was designated alternate payload specialist for the first International Microgravity Laboratory mission, Space Shuttle Discovery Flight STS-42 that flew in 1992. He also helped formulate numerous space physiology experiments for the Spacelab IML-1 mission to explore the root causes of space sickness. Not only was he a well-respected scientist, but he was also an accomplished athlete, having represented Canada in the 1956 Summer Olympics in Melbourne, Australia, where he placed in the top 5 of the men's high jump competition and, in 1989, won the U.S. Masters Badminton Championship in Miami.
Well, that's it for our space adventure. Thanks to Josh, the geocaching blogger, and Lisa for Cache Advance for putting these on. So, until next time, cache later, cache on the trails.